Good afternoon and welcome to Sunday. It is June the 26th. It is 4:04 p.m. Kind of late. I'm kind of getting a late start here, but I wanted to do a brief episode on the reality of different realities. Before I start this episode, it's interesting. I kind of write down ideas before I do episodes. I'll write down some thoughts that I want to go over, but mostly what I do is I just kind of allow things to come to me. So I just kind of allow the flow to just kind of go on its own. One of the things that I wanted to talk about initially is something that I actually saw on Amino when I was communicating with someone. I won't mention who this person was, but they were asking me about being able to go into the void and how they would be able to do it. Could I reveal to them the secret to going into the void, I guess, or the technique of going into the void? And I was speaking to this person. This person seemed to be very desperate about being able to go to this place. And I know that there are a lot of people out there that are very passionate about this. But I again want to be very upfront with this because, in a way, speaking to this person, it was breaking my heart because I could see through what this person was writing, their desperation in wanting to go to this place. Now, I've always been very clear, very upfront. I've always really tried to have as much clarity as I possibly can about my ability to be able to help someone to get to whatever point they desire to get to. I again want to stress this because it's so important. I share these experiences with you to inspire you. I go over some of the things that I do in order to achieve the experiences that I have, in order to give you perhaps some ideas. Maybe it'll work for you. I never have any idea if the suggestions that I make will work for you. I know that they work for me. I know that they've been successful for me, but I want to again stress to you that I don't have the power to get you out there to do this. Only you have the power. I don't know how many times, and I will stress this as many times as I have to do it. Ultimately, I believe in you and I believe in your ability to do this. Now, in regards to technique, what needs to be done, I have gone over this before, but I will say it again. I don't believe in any sort of cookie cutter or ultimate magic formula technique to be able to either astral project or reality shift. That's not what I believe in. Again, my belief is in you, in your ability to pull that out of you because it's inside of you. I think it's inside of each of us. And each of us will have to go on our own journeys to be able to find this. But I think that one of the most important things is the belief in yourself that it's possible to do this, and the ability to relax and to let go. These things are so important. And I've heard people say, well, what do you mean by letting go? What does that mean? I mean, I don't understand what letting go means. That means relaxing and not holding on to the idea that you have to be able to do it in that very moment. The idea that you form the intent in your mind and then you lay down and then you relax and you let that go. And you have faith that you yourself have the ability to get yourself out there. I don't know, again, I don't know how how much more I can really stress this point with you. You have to believe in yourself, because it's not going to matter how much I believe in you. It really is going to matter most with how much you believe in you. So let me talk about the expectations of what we think is going to happen when we go to a different reality, or perhaps what the reality of different realities, which is what I've kind of named this particular episode. One of the things I wanted to go over with in regards to this is, of course, on Amino and some of the other reality shifting websites, people have thoughts of going to places like, for instance, I'll just throw an example out there, the Harry Potter universe, but there are other fictional universes that they would like to visit. And I must tell you, these are my thoughts on this. First of all, I've never gone to a fictional universe like that before. I would never come on to my channel and say, well, I don't know if that's you know what? This is the thing. I honestly, I don't, because I've never visited it, I don't know much about it, but I would never say, no, it's not possible to do that. What I will say is that I believe that every single possibility is out there, that you could visit every single possible universe, that every single possibility exists. But I will tell you that one of the things that I've thought about with this, and I've actually visited a place a while ago, and I actually talked about this experience on this channel a while ago, about going to a parallel version of Disneyland. And I think that convinced me that if I were to go to any of these places, first of all, my thought is that the creators, like, J.K. Rowling, for instance, my belief is that she has some sort of connection to that universe, if it does actually exist. She drew from that universe of Harry Potter. She filtered it out of her own perception. In other words, this is what her take was on what she was perceiving or what she was drawing from, and she created the story of Harry Potter. But my belief is that, what is the reality of that reality? I don't know. Could it be a wonderful, happy place? Maybe. Could it be a very dark and sinister place? That's also a possibility. I honestly don't know. But people have an expectation that it would be like the book. Oh, it's going to be just like Harry Potter, the book. Well, my thought is this, and again, these are just theories. My thought is this: we don't know what it's going to be like. And again, I use Disneyland as an example. Now, I had this thought that I wanted to go to a parallel version of Disneyland, and I thought to myself, oh, that's going to be cool. I love Disneyland. I'm a big fan of Disneyland. So when I get to this place, it's going to be cool. What kind of rides are they going to have? This is going to be so interesting. So I went to this place. It was, I guess what you would call a reality shift. I went and I found myself, as I came into this place, as the darkness lifted, I was in this line. And in this line, there were these walls that I saw, and there were these drawings like comics, but they were more than that. It was very interesting to watch, and very difficult to explain, but they were very detailed drawings that I saw. And at first I was looking at the walls, and, there was a line, a queue, and then there were the walls that were right to my right side. And then I turned and I started looking at the people who were standing in line. And at that point, I noticed that there were beings that were puppet-like. Now, I've since come to sort of not a complete conclusion about this, but my thought is that these beings were more, anyone who's been to Disneyland knows that there are animatronics in Disneyland that you see when you go to places or areas or rides like Pirates of the Caribbean and some of the Fantasyland rides. There are animatronics in these rides, and I believe that these beings were very much like animatronics. So it was sort of the opposite. Instead of the animatronics being there to for us to kind of look at and see within whatever story the people who created the ride are trying to tell, the animatronics were actually in the ride, standing in line. And when I saw this, it freaked me out so much that I think I returned pretty quickly. I think the episode is somewhere in there. I'm not exactly sure. It's somewhere on my channel. It was a really funny thing. Now I'm certain that these beings weren't going to hurt me. I was just scared because the whole thing kind of freaked me out. I've always been kind of freaked out about puppets anyway, and living what appeared to be living beings that were puppet-like were kind of freaky to me. So it turned out to be a lot different than I thought it was. And so I think that's what I'm basing this on. What I'm basing this on is this: if you have a feeling you want to go to a specific place, that's perfect, fine. I think you should go visit that place. But what I would caution you to do is to get rid of your expectations of what you think you're going to see, because in these worlds, and this is another thing, these are independent beings in many of the places that I've been to anyway. These are independent beings with an independent world, with their own independent cultures and everything else. So be ready for anything is what I would say. The other thing is that in these realities, my experience has been, there have been realities that have been like, fireworks, exciting. It's been really amazing. I've gone to, I was once traveling in darkness, and then I saw this star that expanded into several stars that were like in a circle, and I went through it and I went into reverse, and then they collapsed onto each other, and then I was going at this really fast speed, and then I went through this window and there was this beautiful woman and I touched her face and it was amazing, and I was in this reality that was like New York in a way, with yellow taxis and bright lights. Again, I posted this experience as well, and it was one of those memorable experiences. Now, I've had those experiences, but I've also had experiences like the following. I ended up in a reality where I was literally in a department store, and I was in the stationery department of a department store. And I was looking around and I was like, okay, people are walking around and they're not doing anything. There's nothing interesting happening. I don't feel that, the world is in danger and I'm going to have to save this reality or something, how the movies are and stuff like that. It was a normal reality. It was as normal as our reality. And the point that I'm trying to make to you again is that I think that we have expectations on what it's going to be like out there. And what I'm trying to stress to you is that you need to have an open mind. That's the first thing, because you may not see what you think you're going to see. And it's also important, this is also a very, very important thing, and I saw someone mention this on Amino, and I complimented this person on this about beings being independent out there, having their own independent lives. I think that perhaps some of us think that these realities are kind of like a playground or for our amusement. But the way I look at it, the way I see it, is that we are visiting these places and that we should have the same respect as if we were visiting another country. If I were going to the United, I've traveled to a lot of different countries, but if I'm going to another country, I'm a representative of the United States when I'm out there, and I take that very seriously. I am respectful, I follow their laws, and I keep my nose down, and I check things out, and I explore. And, you know, I think the same thing, the same attitude should apply if you're going to another reality. Same thing. You're a visitor in this place. This is not your home necessarily. I mean, I suppose you're visiting a version of yourself there, but as a person from the 3D world, you are a visitor to that particular reality. And you should be respectful of those beings when you are there. You are a representative of this reality, and what you do reflects on everybody here. I know it's weird to say this, but this is my belief, and I really believe this. I really believe that, you know, you should be courteous, respectful, and you should keep your nose down, and you should explore and take everything in and make connections with beings, of course, but always be polite and cordial, I think. Anyway, these are my thoughts on the reality of different realities. Thank you so much for coming on this journey with me, and until next time, take care.